Australia's top spy, leave the show with us tonight, says multiple foreign countries are engaging in espionage and foreign interference on Australian soil. Appearing before a Senate committee yesterday, ASIO Director General Mike Burgess says his Australian intelligence officers are also aware of multiple religiously motivated violent extremists who want to kill Australians. For more of this, I'm joined from Canberra by Liberal Senator and Chair of the Parliament's powerful Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security, Senator James Paterson. Senator, thank you for your time tonight. We've got lots of other important things happening in Canberra, but we can't let this stuff pass by unmentioned. Mike Burgess made commentary yesterday about existing threats to Australians from what he called religiously motivated violent extremists. I know we've changed all the terminology, but that means Islamic terrorists. You get briefings in your capacity as the Intelligence Committee Chair. This is surely a concern for the Morrison government, isn't it?
It certainly is, Peter. As the Director-General said yesterday, the terrorism threat level in Australia remains at probable, and in plain language what that means is a terrorist attack is likely to occur in Australia in the next 12 months. The Director-General said the principal remaining threat is Islamist terror, but there is also a rising risk of what is now being termed ideologically motivated violent extremism, which includes white nationalists, neo-Nazis and others who are an increasing and rapidly growing part of ASIO's counter-terrorism workload.
Let's not forget about the 14 terrorists, Islamic terrorists currently in prison, but who are set to be released over the next 5 years. Senator Paterson, what can be done to keep them locked up?
Well, it's a very timely question, Peter, because the committee is currently considering a bill called the High Risk Terrorist Offenders Bill, which would, if it was enacted by the Parliament, would give the government the power to lock up these terrorists for longer or supervise them more closely after they've been released. Because unfortunately there is a high rate of recidivism among terrorists. There are many who are unreformed, who go to prison, who refuse to participate in de-radicalisation programs and pose an ongoing threat to the community even after their sentences finish. And it is the government's view, and the committee is considering this, that the current regime for supervision of these people after they release is not adequate and needs to be boosted significantly.
We saw a couple of years ago in Britain, someone just released from a de-radicalisation program take a knife into an auditorium, I think it was at a conference, and cause mayhem. I've read other reports in my time in government that there's little evidence that these de-radicalisation programs actually work. Do you have a different view?
Well, I think there is some evidence that they work in some instances, but in other instances they clearly haven't. And some of these terrorists even refuse to participate in them to begin with, which is an enormous red flag. And what's concerning for the committee and the Parliament and the government is that the control orders and supervision orders that have been placed on some of these people have routinely been flouted by some of them. The conditions that they have been imposed on them have been broken. And that is a very bad sign about their future intent. And you're right, there are a number of people whose sentences are coming up very soon. And so the Parliament will be considering this in a timely way.
Right, I want to move to a big issue in your home state of Victoria. Melbourne City Council last night rubber-stamped a proposal from the Andrews government to open a drug injecting room, heroin and ice. I've got to keep saying ice, incredibly violent. That's included on Flinders Street in the heart of the CBD. A majority of the councillors, including Lord Mayor Sally Capp and Sky News host Deputy Mayor Nick Rees, voted to back the injecting room last night, despite an outcry from local residents, business owners, and I think a vast majority of Melburnians. Senator, we know the Richmond injecting room debacle, more crime, more drugs, right up against a school. Why on earth are we building one in the centre of Melbourne? Melbourne is on its knees. If we end up with a lockdown in the next couple of days, it will only get worse. And why is it the interest of drug dealers and addicts are put ahead the rights of everyone else who wants to live, work and visit the Melbourne CBD? You're a Victorian senator. Can you do anything here?
Peter, it's a great question. Why on earth would the council, and what I'm particularly flabbergasted about, is effectively give the state government a blank cheque here? We don't have the details of this proposal yet. We don't know exactly where it's going to be, exactly how large it is. There's a lot of rumours and a lot of speculation in the media, but the state government hasn't put forward a concrete proposal yet. And yet even before that, the majority of the council was willing to tick off on it and give it a big green light. I think that is a dereliction of duty by those councillors who voted for it. I give credit to the councillors who opposed it, particularly the Liberals on council, Rashina Campbell and Philip Philip Liu, all credit to them for fighting for the traders who are going to be adversely affected by this. But it's just the last thing you need if you're a restaurant or cafe owner or retail shop owner, after the toughest year you've ever had in your business life, to know that you're going to potentially have an injecting room dropped on the top or right next to your business. I mean, what is that going to do for families and young people wanting to be anywhere near this part of the city?
Anything you can do, James Paterson?
Last time I checked, Peter, I don't think the Constitution permits the federal government to do that, but we'll be making our voices clear. We're backing the state Liberals and the Liberals on council who are opposing this. And really it is up to the Andrews government to decide whether they want to do this to Melbourne's restaurateurs and retailers. It will be a shocking blow to them, the last thing that they need.
All right, I'll leave it there. Thanks for your time, Senator Paterson.